行く
In a city where nearly 1 in 4 workers clock in over 49 hours a work week, in a culture where working yourself to death is so common, it has its own name, karaoke. And in a country that struggles with one of the highest rates of social isolation among developed nations, one thing is for certain. Japan knows how to work hard. As a former shut-in, now part-time adventurer, this was easily observable. Mornings here look like a race. Businessmen in black and gray march with a cadence, focused and efficient, yet seemingly detached. Passing glances here are quite hard to catch, and a hearty "Ohayo gozaimasu" even harder. Yes, mornings here are a quiet choreography of Tokyo in motion. I couldn't help but to compare it to my time in India, where many locals would stop and stare at you and even ask for your picture like you were one of Bollywood's biggest stars simply for being a foreigner. Here, Tokyo couldn't be any more different. However, when the sun drops behind the skyline, there's a shift. And the city working hard all day now comes out to play. In back alley bars and clubs that'll never see the light of day, beneath spilled drinks, past the streetwalkers, and deep into the urban decay. A silent yet deafening initiation welcoming you to the Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
Now, the city itself isn't the only thing that runs like a well-oiled machine. Tokyo's underground car scene isn't just a myth. You just gotta know where to look. Also known as the Japanese domestic market, or JDM car scene, its roots trace back to the 1980s and 90s, where a rogue bunch of street racers, or hashiriya, turned highways into circuits, risking everything for the need for speed. Their home turf was the Wangan expressway, a long flat stretch of coastal asphalt connecting Tokyo and Yokohama. There, hashiriya crews would form, the most infamous being known as the Midnight Club, would then go on to become legend. Around the same time, away in the mountain passes outside of the city, a young driver named Keiichi Tsuchiya was perfecting a different art form, drifting. He'd go on to become known as the Drift King, and laid down the blueprint for what the world would later recognize in games, anime, and even movies like The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. Together, the Wangan and Japan's mountain passes, or toge, gave birth to the JDM culture as we know it. Today, what remains of the scene can be found in places like the Daikoku parking area, which is where I went to, but also in many ports, tollways, and underground garages. Coming from a city where the car meets turn into street takeovers, which then often turn into violent and even sometimes fatal run-ins with the police, my respect and appreciation for the JDM scene was instant. What I respect most about it is that even in its underground form, there's discipline and a code. It's never been about chaos for the sake of it, or reckless abandon. Even the hashiriya had rules. No racing unless it was safe, and no risking innocent lives. And today, the vibe's the same. It's not about clout or going viral. It's about the builds, the detail, the mutual respect. Nobody's here to cause a scene. They're here because the cars speak for them. And that is more than enough. The roar of 100 engines eventually faded away from me, but my night was just getting started, and I would go from one kind of performance to another. Karaoke is more than just a pastime in Tokyo. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry and a cultural ritual. The word itself comes from kara, meaning empty, and oke, short for orchestra. And in this city, that empty orchestra echoes across hundreds of buildings every night. There are over 8,000 karaoke venues in Tokyo alone, many offering private rooms where you can sing in complete privacy with friends, coworkers, or sometimes by yourself. For a society known for emotional strength and structured etiquette, karaoke offers something rare, a socially acceptable way to let it all go. Yay! I held it for as long as I could. Hell yeah! After a long workday, it's not unusual for coworkers to go head to a karaoke together, a tradition known as nomikai, where drinking and singing soften the rigid lines of their suits and ties. Behind these padded doors, vulnerability becomes entertainment. A love song, a breakup anthem, a power ballad, 2 drinks, too deep. And in a city that rarely makes room for such a public exhibition, this is one of the few places where people are encouraged to be loud.
I love that song. It's just like you have like really big spaces, big buildings. It's kind of strange sometimes because there's not a lot of people out. So you just have like these big old buildings and stuff. Even in the tiniest places, like the smallest apartments and buildings, like there's something going on. There's people there. What do we have here? Vocaloid music. Yeah. If you like anime, if you like Naruto, Vocaloid anime, you know, Vocaloid music, yeah, you're gonna like it down here, you know?
In a city that never truly sleeps, it should come as no surprise that it has its mood swings. But at the midnight hour, the difference between those mood swings can be a mere few feet, or even just across the street. Small-scale music venues are referred to as live houses, intimate spaces built for live performances, often tucked away into basements or alleys. They're raw, loud, and built for the music, not the glitz. Tucked in a corner of Shinjuku, Livehouse Wall was one of them. The kind of venue you don't stumble into. You have to know it's there.
Very nice.
It was a slow night, only a handful of people scattered across the room. So slow, in fact, that for a few minutes I became the MC.
Ayumu? Alright, I'm about to hand over the mic back to Luke.
Luke.
Yes.
Luke.
Ayumu, hajimemashite.
Yet the DJ afterward played Vocaloid assorted tracks like it was a sold-out show. A single drink on the table, and a single voice on the mic. And just like that, the same city will have you spinning in opposite directions. You don't just walk into a Tokyo nightclub, you rise into it. Many of the biggest venues are perched inside of skyscrapers, offering skyline views to match the soundscape pulsing inside. Clubs like Cella V and V2 cater to the glamorous. Bottle service, dress codes, and carefully controlled ambiance. You'll find expats, models, salarymen, students, all in the same room, dancing, not talking. And while Japan is known for its rules and order, here on the dance floor, it's one of the few spaces where it's okay to lose yourself. In the bass, in the bodies, and in the moment. In a city where everything runs on time, this is where time runs away from you. Step away from the noise and the crowds, you begin to notice the smaller things. A convenience store light flickering, a stranger standing still on a pedestrian bridge, and an entire city moving around you while you're helpless but to stop and stare for a while. It all felt beautifully still. Most nights came with a soft breeze that brushed against your skin just enough to remind you to breathe. One night it rained, gently, no thunder, no rush, a sense of calm you don't expect in a city this alive. Here, You can wander around for hours and still somehow stumble across a moment that makes you stop and think to yourself, wow. Tokyo at midnight isn't just something that you see. It's a feeling that's completely different from the day, and the only promise that's guaranteed of this exclusive club. And once you've experienced it, your dues have been paid, and you're now fully initiated as a new member to a world-renowned group. Welcome to the Midnight Club.